Hello, everybody. This is Dianne. Welcome to Biters.
Is this the I can't drive 55, Dianne?
Oh my God, you're horrible.
I am. I said I was going to make the joke when we podcasted on Capes and Lunatics last weekend, so I made the joke. This is Marnell, and we are here to podcast Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 9, Things Left to Do.
And I don't even have anything cool to say about this episode in terms of, like, you know, quoting a quote from it, or I just don't. I will say that I did send a message to somebody earlier today that said, okay, Fear the Walking Dead has about 25 minutes to turn it around.
Well, you and I were messaging, and
it wasn't you that I sent that message to.
No. But you were just like, this is a very meh episode. And I was like, it is, but wait till the ending.
Well, I kind of figured, spoiler alert, if you're listening to this, stop right now. I kind of figured someone was going to die based on what you said. I mean, that's kind of a big, I'm leading with meh until the very end.
Right. Yeah, it definitely, the ending brought up my rating. So otherwise it was just a very meh episode.
Yeah, I would have to say the ending brought up my rating too. It's still not a great rating, but it brought up my rating.
Right.
Okay, is it my turn to go first this time?
I believe so.
Okay, so my rating was 3.73 bloody axes on display out of 5.
You know, I really do love that weapon. Alicia needs to adopt it. Like, I hate her weapon.
So I was watching it when Morgan had it at Ginny's neck. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that kind of looks like a cheesy cardboard cutout Klingon battle axe from the 1960s Star Trek.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it did not stand up on close viewing like that. It's a good idea.
I would say I would go back and look for it, but I'm not going to rewatch this episode.
Pretty much, yeah. You watched it twice. I was
yep.
content watching it once.
I kind of have to watch things twice because of the way that I take notes. So I watch through without taking notes because when I do my second watch through, I know what I'm looking for to take the notes. Because if I just take notes on the first go around, I used this example in my meeting the other day. If you're anything like me, if Buddha tells you to holding in anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And my notes will say, Buddha says give the other guy the poison. So not the message. So I can't do notes first time around, unfortunately.
So I do notes first time around, and if it's something where I really want to watch it, I'll watch it again. But like this episode, I have no desire to watch it a second time. You know,
It's a curse. Like I have to know what I'm looking for because otherwise I will write everything down and my notes will be like 30 pages long. It'll be a script. So my rating was 3.85 glistening brains.
Ah, yes. What did she say? Grace's glistening brains?
Yeah.
Grace's glowing brains.
Glowing brains. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, is it gleaming or is it glistening? It's glowing.
Glowing. Because, you know, like,
GGG.
Yeah, good, giving, and game. That's what Dan Savage says.
Yep.
Oh, I haven't thought about that phrase in a really long time.
I like Dan Savage.
I do too. Okay, so I have a few numbers, and I think I don't have very many numbers, actually, and I think that I may be repeating myself because we podcasted somewhat late last week, but this episode was a 9.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah, I mean, it's only got like 500, a little over 500 ratings right now, but the ratings
That is a
on
huge rating.
it is, and they seem to be holding steady. So last week was a pretty high point for them, 8.3, and it held steady. And the week before that held steady at 8.1. So, I mean, the people are rating this season very, very highly. I mean, episode 1 is an 8.8. So this is the highest rated episode so far with 504 reviews. It didn't suck.
It didn't suck, but it wasn't great.
No.
Yeah, it didn't suck. Okay, so The Door, which sucked less, or didn't suck less, or something like that.
It was like terrible, but it was great.
It had 1.17 million same day views, yes, that's what I was trying to say, which I think may be a repeat from last week. I think I had that number last week.
Yeah.
So bear with me. I don't have much about the title, so Things Left to Do was direct from Dakota's note that she left when she patched Morgan up. You have things left to do.
Right. And I feel like everybody felt like they had things left to do this episode, you know?
Okay, we'll get into that, because they had the whole pairing of, like, Alicia and Strand are going to have a conversation, and Dwight and Sherry are going to have a conversation. I was like, oh, come on, you guys. This is really contrived. But yes, I felt like a lot of people had a lot of things left to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw just about every character again.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. Except for,
Wes.
Chill.
No, oh, you're right. We didn't see Chill either. We didn't see Wes, and we didn't see Chill.
I saw Wes.
Oh, somebody you did?
Somebody was helping him into the new town that has yet to be named.
Why did we not see Chill? That's weird.
Yeah. I just noticed. I said last time that we had touched on everybody, and I realized that I don't remember seeing Chill in either episode. Interesting. Hashtag where's Daryl?
And I don't think Sarah would be that far from him.
No, not if she can help it.
Okay, so our director was the same director as last week, Michael Satrazemis, so I'm not going to go into that. Our writer was a guy named Nick Bernardone. I hope I'm saying his name properly. So he has been a writer and staff writer for Fear. He actually is responsible for 2 episodes of Fear, this one and Leave What You Don't, which was back in 2019. For Walking Dead, he actually wrote the Red Machete webisodes. And won an Emmy for those.
Huh. Those were good.
I didn't watch those. I kind of fell off after some of the early webisodes, so...
I went back and watched them. We podcasted, and I realized I think I had only watched like the first one or the first 2 or something, and so and it was like an entire like season or 2 later, I went back and rewatched them. But I really kind of like when the show does that. They tell kind of a side story, because we saw that with Fear, and it was Flight 452 or something like that. And I really liked that, you know, where it was just a little piece of somebody's story, and it didn't have to go anywhere. And they even called back to it in the show, you know, because they came across the wreckage.
Right.
So, yeah, I like it.
Gosh, remember when we thought some of the early episodes weren't that great? Now I'm like, the early episodes of Fear were great.
Just like, I really miss Travis and Nick.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Travis. I haven't thought about Travis in quite some time. Yeah, I really miss Travis and Nick.
Yeah.
Other stuff about Nick Bernardone. I'm sure I'm saying his name incorrectly. So he's written for The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, which I think you probably have watched.
No.
Okay, neither have I. He's written some 30 Rock kind of one-offs. And I just want to comment that this guy is a baby. He was born in 1985. And he looks like a baby on his...
Old.
What was that?
I'm so old.
Don't even get me started. I'm 50, but I'm 50 going on 15. And my boyfriend is 48. And he tells me he's not going to debate 48 months with me. Or 24 months or whatever. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we're not counting 2020. Like, nobody has to count 2020.
Fair enough. So I'm 49 and he's 47. Yeah. Okay, yep, I like that. Go. Okay, good. All right, so we agreed that we were going to talk about Zoe Colletti this week as our featured cast.
Yes.
Because really, we kind of wanted to talk about her last week, but we didn't feel like we could with losing John Dory. Right.
I mean, we really should be talking about Colby Minifie. I'm saying that wrong. Colby Minifie? Minifie.
Yeah.
Yeah. We really should be talking about her, but we've talked about her fairly recently. I think because we watched The Boys, and she did so well in that.
So good.
So yeah, her little sister, Zoe Colletti, aka Dakota.
Her little sister / daughter, aka Dakota, Zoe Colletti. Ugh, right? I'm having a hard time talking tonight.
And of course, we mentioned the last episode that Zoe Colletti is sister to Ian Colletti from Preacher.
Yay! Arseface.
Yeah. Arseface, yes. I have to say that Zoe's Twitter account was abandoned about 4 years ago. She hasn't tweeted since 2017.
I actually looked to see if she had a Twitter account, and she doesn't, but you are going to be happy because she has a TikTok.
She does, and I watched some of her TikToks. She's super funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can find her, Zoe Colletti, on TikTok, at Zoe Colletti on Instagram. She does not have a Facebook. And you know, all this time, I have been thinking that, Dakota is like, 14, 15, 16, something like that. Here I am thinking Zoe is that age. She's actually 19.
But she's already posting stuff about how she's hard in love with her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Zoe, be careful. I've been down that road.
Her boyfriend's a hottie McBody.
He is pretty cute.
Yeah.
So, and they're pretty cute together.
They are. So I was looking at her Instagram and I was like, wow, these are very mature looking photos.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up her age and she is 19. She turned 19 in November. So, yeah, but she's still a youngin'. Don't hate her on social media because Dakota is a character she plays and not a real person.
Correct.
So I wanted to point out, she posted on her Instagram a couple of months ago, hashtag show your scars. And she has a very large scar under her belly button. And she actually had, I'm going to mispronounce this, Hirschsprung's disease.
Oh, it's a horribly enlarged colon.
Yes.
Yes.
AKA megacolon.
Yes.
Yeah. So, she is a survivor of that. So.
Wow. That's really serious.
Yeah. So I was doing a little reading on it, and I don't know much about when she was diagnosed or anything. The scar looks pretty old, but it's a rather large scar. So the reading that I did said it's mostly diagnosed in infants.
Yes, correct.
It's very, very unusual to have it as an adult. And so I kind of want to think that, she was maybe born with it. But I mean, I try and imagine this, scar on an infant, and wow, that is a major deal to go
so
through.
It's probably, what happens is our scars grow with us.
Right.
So it probably was appropriately sized on an infant and grew with with Zoe when she grew.
Yeah. Yeah. But she has abs like I wish I had abs. So
Well, she's adorable.
it obviously did not affect any muscle tone in her stomach. So kudos to the docs.
Right.
She doesn't have it on her Instagram page, but she has a little dog that she features in some of her TikToks, which is adorable.
I only watched a couple of her TikToks, so but I did post a thing to the Biters page about it was just a very brief YouTube clip of her singing. Her voice is amazing.
What was the song?
I didn't even recognize the song, but it was just beautiful. Her voice was incredible.
I was wondering why when you Google her, she comes up and, like it gives like her height and her weight and her age and her hometown and things like that. But it lists her genre as pop. And I was like, huh, is she coming out with an album? Interesting.
She might be. Which, by the way, I have album information later, but yeah.
So I didn't realize, I don't think we have talked about her before. I feel like we have, but we must not have because I actually didn't realize that I knew her from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the movie from 2019. So it's probably a little past your time, but I absolutely loved Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark when I was a kid. If anyone ever went to Scholastic book fairs, that was a hot item. And
that was way after my time.
And this is a girl who went from R.L. Stine to Anne Rule to Stephen King. And then I didn't really read books much, so I went on to Wes Craven. But yeah, so she will reprise her role as Stella Nichols in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark 2, which is in pre-production. And I'm so excited because there was multiple books. So it'll be interesting. They're kind of like, if you don't know what they are, they're kind of like Tales from the Crypt for kids, where they were just short stories, that campfire stories, they were meant to scare kids. And so, the one that she was in was about a scary scarecrow. So yeah, they wrap up the stories. I mean, there's an ending to the story, so it'll be interesting to see how they try and reprise that role.
Again, not something I'm familiar with. Probably not something I'm going to watch, but I'm super excited for her that her career seems to be continuing to have a great trajectory. She's got something else that's in post right now called A Boy Called Christmas. Mm-hmm. And she's got a TV series that's been announced called Acts of Crime.
Right. So I'm really excited for her to be in A Boy Called Christmas because she cites Kristen Wiig as her favorite actress, and she will be in.
Never mind, Cheetah. Never mind.
Oh, that's funny. I only know her from Bridesmaids.
Watched Wonder Woman 1984. Yeah, it was awful. Awful.
I'm blocking that out. So. But it's really cool for her to have previously cited Kristen Wiig as her favorite actress, and now she gets to work with her. So that'll be awesome. So there is a movie that she was in 2018 that looks super interesting because you and I are planning on podcasting American History X for the Real Housewives.
Oh gosh, I need to get it together with Tyler and Nick to set that up. I've been horribly remiss. Would you please remind me to do that?
I will try.
Oh my god.
She was in a movie called Skin, which is about a skinhead, guy who's a skinhead. So that might be something that I check out to kind of fill out my portfolio of things that I've watched.
You know, you crack me up because I go on deep dives, but you go on really deep dives.
You know, when I get on a subject that interests me, even morbidly so, I've actually I watched a couple of documentaries here very recently on white supremacy and Nazis and the Klan and things like that on Amazon Prime, I think. And of course it comes up suggested because I've watched the QAnon Anon documentary. So yeah. But I do have to mention that Zoe was in an episode of Law and Order.
Dun dun dun, SVU.
Right?
Yes.
The best Law and Order. I mean, I love the original, but come on. Law and Order SVU is the best.
Yeah, I've got to say it's probably my favorite too. Although some of the Sam Waterston OG Law and Order is pretty cool.
Right. Right. So yeah, that is really all I have about Zoe. Did you have anything?
I'm just trying to see. Well, I posted the thing about that video of her, or I talked about posting that video of her singing. Please go watch it. Anybody who's listening, those 5 people who are hanging on and listening to Biters, please go watch it because her voice is just lovely.
Interesting. I will have to watch it.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous.
I was very curious. I was like, why does her genre... I was like, does she just like pop music? Like, is that why it comes up under her?
So, cool. There's quite a bit in Whisperer's Corner, so I'll try to blast through it. I mean, I'm not going to rudely blast through it, but I'll try to get us through. So, the first thing that I looked at was kind of clickbaity. So, Gimple is teasing that there are going to be some cameos from the flagship series in World Beyond. He's basically like, well, you know, World Beyond is ending, so we're only getting a season 2, and which is the way that it was written. And because it's CRM, there's going to be some crossover. And it was, I mean, the article was completely clickbaity. He didn't identify who that would be. The suggestion was Jadis and Rick. So I think we may see Jadis. I don't know that we're going to see Rick. I don't believe that we're going to see Rick. We don't even have the first Walking Dead movie yet. Yeah.
You know, it was pointed out, and I can't remember if it was Paul Tassi or Eric Kane's review. This is the only Walking Dead property currently airing or soon to be airing that does not already have an end date.
Fear? Yeah, true. Yeah. Although we have Anthology and we have the Carol Darrell show, so...
Right, but those I don't even think have started filming yet, so anything could happen. I'm just saying, we're in a kind of post-COVID world. Kind of, not really.
Yeah, no, it's still complicated. COVID is still screwing everything. Well, not everything. COVID is still screwing most things up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of Paul Tassi and Eric Kane, so Paul Tassi was like, Fear is killing off cast members at a surprising rate.
Steve has to be happy.
I know. Well, it was so funny because one of the things that I wrote in my notes was, Steve, there are a lot of people in the Morgan settlement. A lot of people.
Yeah. But, okay, so we don't actually have to kill people off, and we will get into this a little later, but it kind of looks like Victor is going to go off on his own, and Sherry doesn't seem to be sticking around, although she will be in the next episode. So, I mean, we don't actually have to kill people off to get rid of them.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. He did guess, Paul Tassi, that Alicia Debnam Carey is potentially next. He's like, she's got to be sick of leading this series for so long. And then he also suggested that Coleman Domingo could be next in terms of being killed off because he's got so much stuff going on that is not
right
Walking Dead related, that he's just had a lot of stuff happen with his career.
So, like I said, you don't have to kill a character to get rid of them. You can leave it open for them to come back, but we don't ever have to see them again. But
hashtag where's Heath?
I just have to say that Alicia Debnah Carey only has one thing, and it's already in post-production. So, I mean, unless there is yet to be announced things that she's going to be in, I don't foresee her leaving the show.
You don't think?
Mm-mm. Nope. At least I hope. But I kind of hope not. I mean, I would love to see her in something else.
Well, Steve would stop watching altogether. Steve would be like, I'm done. I know we're a Walking Dead podcast, but I'm done.
He'll just podcast with Dianne, and Dianne would be like, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. You don't say.
Steve, we are laughing at you.
And with you, to be fair.
All right, Eric Kane. So I kind of cut to his summary of what he thought about the episode. So he said it was decent. I'm not sure that I entirely agree. I do agree with his point that Colby Minifie is a fine actor in the wrong role.
Yes.
And he said there was no rank stupidity in this episode. But I thought his end to his article was so funny. He was like, submarines, hot air balloons, what's next? A spaceship?
Right?
Okay, JDM on his Instagram gives us sneak peek photos of his kid from season 11 as a zombie. I believe it was season 11, episode 5.
Oh, it looks so, like, his kid looks so cool.
Yeah. Completely. Caitlin Nacon, who played Enid, is going to be in a new movie called Breathing. Gosh darn it! My handwriting is so bad. Now I can't find the name of the movie. I can't read the name of the movie.
Breathing what?
I think it's called Breathing Heavy.
Sorry, that's me typing with.
I know, me too, right?
Keyboard. Yeah, I don't see anything. I mean, 2018.
No. Breathing Happy. And It's about a kid who is an addict who basically ends up getting kind of tormented on Christmas Eve. His past demons show up, tempting him to fail. I kind of wondered if it wasn't like an addict's take on Scrooge.
Yeah. Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, so Caitlin Nacon is doing something new. Skybound is releasing a new book called The Art of AMC's The Walking Dead Universe. It's going to get released in September. And it is behind the scenes, pre-production and production art. And it's basically going to be like storyboards, conceptual art, original sketches. So it sounds kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, and especially because I'm kind of wearing out Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran, and Hamilton, Emily Kinney has a new album out. It dropped on April 9th.
Wow.
And I found out today when I was looking at Walking Dead news.
I don't feel like whoever her PR team hypes that enough.
You know, I feel
like if you had to dig for it... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to dig for it, it's a big deal, right? Because I'm a big Emily Kinney fan. I would definitely say that Expired Lover is my favorite, or Expired Love is my favorite album. But yeah, the reason that I found out was because of the news. And the news was specifically talking about one song called Skinny. and it's a song about having disordered eating.
Oh.
And she talks about praying to be skinny and praying that her bones will show, and it's a pretty great song. Yeah. So, Emily Kinney, highly recommend it. The album is called Supporting Character. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet, but of course, now I'm going to wear that into the ground.
Of course.
Because you can only listen to so much Taylor Swift and Hamilton and Ed Sheeran. And I've got to tell you, so my sweet fella, his ringtone and his text tone is an Ed Sheeran song. I jump out of my skin every time it goes off. It's kind of embarrassing. Like, I'll be sitting at work and I'll be like, it's a little embarrassing.
My God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. 15. I'm going on 15. Okay.
Well, I'm the one who spends all her time on TikTok, so there you go.
Okay, you're going on 14.
Right?
The last thing in Whisperer's Corner, JDM confirmed on Conan last week that a Negan spinoff is actively being discussed.
Like I said, I would love to see the time between Here's Negan and when we meet up with our Prime group. Because we've always talked about, the villain is the hero. The villain is the hero of his own story. And we talked about, if we would have seen our favorite characters from the other side, from like Negan's side, maybe we would be on the savior side. So I am super interested in that story. I'm here for it. I don't know how they're going to spend all their money doing that cool de-aging process on Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Not that he is not attractive, because like he totally is, but man, I need to know his secret about smoothing out those forehead wrinkles. Like, is that
Sephora.
tape?
A trip to Sephora.
Sephora. Like, it couldn't have been Botox, but like, tell me, dude, like hyaluronic acid? Like, what's going on?
Okay, anything else for Whisperer's Corner?
Nope. I don't think I have anything.
I have a couple of things for housekeeping.
Okay.
So we are going to be talking about the movie Spotlight on The Real Housewives of Alaska this week because Marnell has to kill my jam by making me watch something really depressing.
You were going to make me watch Greta.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That's future depressing. I'm looking at past depressing.
Can we do another OnlyFans review or something? Because I just feel like... I'm not ready to have my jam killed.
Oh.
So, Spotlight. We're doing the movie Spotlight, which is a movie about... It fictionalizes the newspaper that broke the Catholic Church molestation scandal.
Mm-hmm.
And it has Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, and Liev Schreiber. I always say his name wrong in it. And I love him. And I love his brother Pablo, who played Mad Sweeney in American Gods. Mad Sweeney for the sheer blankety-blank joy of it. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to talk about that this week, and I think we're going to do Real Housewives on Wednesday because I'm exhausted. And Marnell works too much.
I do. The advantage and disadvantage of working from home is I am always on.
I can work from home and I'm always kind of on, but I'm being a lot more selfish with my time right now. And that's okay.
Good.
That's okay. Because I've given away a lot of time.
Good.
Okay, the other thing I wanted to mention on Housewives was we did Capes and Lunatics After Dark this weekend with Lilith Hellfire and Phil Filmian Parrish. And we talked about The People versus Larry Flint, which really held up.
Yes.
It was really great. I was happy that I watched it again.
Me too. Yeah. And I had completely forgotten that Courtney Love was basically blackballed from Hollywood. And now I'm like, we need to bring her back. Like, she was right, and we need to bring her back.
She was pretty great. I mean, she was definitely horribly ill in the film. I mean, she was definitely horribly addicted when the film was being made, but she was pretty great.
Yeah.
Even addicted, she was great.
Yep.
The very last thing I want to say, and this is a sad note, and we didn't ever podcast with him, but Southgate Media lost one of their own. So a fellow named Chris Mau, M-A-U, and I hope that I said your name properly, Chris, because we never did podcast together. He passed away, I believe, of cancer this week, and he was young.
Yes.
So we're super sorry. It sounds like there were several people in Southgate Media who were very close to him, and we just want to extend our love and our compassion.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me of that. I saw that right after we got off the podcast with Phil. There was the hashtag Sonic Screwdrivers for Chris.
Yeah. And I was talking with Rob this morning, and I said, I'm not a Doctor Who fan. I don't have a sonic screwdriver. And he said, you can even be holding up a mug or a picture of you holding, or like a sonic screwdriver on your phone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that would be a Whovian. A Doctor Who fan is a Whovian.
Yes, I know. I'm a horrible person. I should love Doctor Who, and I don't. I'm a horrible person.
You just haven't watched the right Doctor. Everyone has a favorite. Christopher Eccleston. I mean, he was my first Doctor, so. And he only lasted a season, but he was a super cheeky Doctor, so. Yeah. I do have some Housewives housekeeping.
Okay.
So, we podcasted Framing Britney Spears.
Yes.
For the Housewives.
Do you have an update?
Yes. So in a recent Instagram video, she did kind of an AMA with her fans and Ask Me Anything. And she said, "Am I okay? Yes, I am totally fine," the 39-year-old pop star said via Instagram, where she took fans' questions on a variety of subjects. "I'm extremely happy. I have a beautiful home, beautiful children, and I'm taking a break right now because I'm enjoying myself." Britney Spears has 2 sons, Sean Preston, 15, and Jaden James, 14, with her ex-husband, Kevin Federline. So it is actually the second Instagram post where she has talked about how she's doing fine mentally, and she is just kind of enjoying her life and with her sons right now. So, yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So,
now, is she being truthful?
Well, so there was kind of after the Framing Britney Spears episode, not our episode, but the episode of the documentary hit, there was this weird Instagram post where everyone was like, I don't think that's her, because it used an emoticon instead of an emoji, and she only uses emojis. And it was basically the same thing. It was basically like, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. Like my fans don't need to pick at the courtroom or whatever. I don't remember what it said, but, people were speculating that she did not have control of her Instagram, but this was a video. So, I don't know. I don't know if she's okay, because people who are not okay don't always talk about it. So.
Isn't that true?
Yeah. So, it kind of sounds like her, dad is stepping back from her conservatorship, but not stepping away from it. He is still involved in it, but it kind of sounds like for his own health reasons, he's had to become less involved in it. So,
yeah.
So if you haven't seen Framing Britney Spears, that was even you said, surprisingly good documentary.
Yes, it was. It was surprisingly good.
Yeah, it was. It's kind of frames it through the lens of a pop star who we all owe an apology to, But it was about the crazy conservatorships that we can do in this country that, like, it's really scary to think that somebody could do that to you. They could just take over your life. There's actually, I mentioned it on the podcast, there's a really good movie on Netflix. I think it's called I Care, or I Care a Lot, or something like that. That was it was a fictionalized, version of someone who is using conservatorships to bilk people out of money. But yeah, scary.
Anything else for Housewives?
Nope. Just the one and done.
Well, I think that leads us into our goods, bads, and uglies.
And you are still going first.
Okay, so my good, and I think you're going to be surprised, is actually the opening scene where June is burying John.
Oh, that's actually my ugly.
I loved the way it was filmed.
Mm-hmm.
I really loved the way that they staged it, and the way that they had her kind of not totally in focus, and they had Ginny carrying on in the background trying to get Morgan on the walkie.
But it sounded like everything was underwater.
Yes.
It was all muffled. Because, I mean, when you are in a traumatic or post-traumatic state, that is exactly how the world is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. I love the way that they did it. I don't have anything more detailed than that. The way that it was shot and the way that they had Ginny in the background, it was gold. It was a really good open.
So the reason why it's in my ugly is because, yes, I loved that because of how real to life it was. But it was also ugly bad because it was just heartbreaking to see such an undignified end for John, that it was just a hole in the ground that he was rolled into. There was no covering, there was his friends weren't there, it was just June, and it was just heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted more for John. I kind of like what they did, where it was such a traumatic thing, because it makes the ending of this episode all the more real. But yeah, your good was my ugly.
How funny. We did this the last time that we talked about Walking Dead, didn't we?
Yeah, we whipped right through the episode because of it.
Well, so what's your good?
Well,
your good is probably going to be my ugly.
My good is June shooting Ginny.
Your good is my ugly.
Yeah. That's hilarious. And there was so much good about this because, I mean, the entire
thank God
episode...
Ginny is finally dead. Don't hate on Colby Minifie. Thank God Ginny is finally dead.
Yes. The character of Virginia, rest in peace, but, rest in pieces too. There was so much good about it. The entire episode, it was teased that Ginny was gonna die. Sherry pointing the guns, the MRAP coming and shooting, and her having the bullet wound, and her almost getting beheaded, and there was just so many times where it was teased and teased and teased, and then just unceremoniously June just shoots her in the head, and I'm like, right on, finally, somebody has the balls to be like, you don't deserve a second chance. You have had a second and a third and a fourth chance, and you're just a terrible person who does terrible things for terrible reasons. And June, she got her payback. Yeah. And even the scene, they showed the close up, and there was pieces of the skull tangled in Ginny's hair, and she shot her in the head, so she wasn't even going to come back as a zombie, and the whole thing was great. The whole thing.
Hamilton
Loved
reference. I'm not throwing away my shot.
And how poetic it was, John's gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will just add, because this was part of my ugly, her striding off in John's hat.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole walking the badass walking away from the explosion without even looking back.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was so good. Loved it. So what was your bad?
Oh my god, I'm just cracking up that we're going to blast through our goods, bads, and uglies. So my bad was I had a very hard time believing Ginny's switch from all of the bluster and braggadocio to vulnerability. To all of a sudden being like, just kill me, just get it over it. Get it over with, you want to.
I am so glad you brought that up. I have written down that she looked so shocked and confused and hurt when, Morgan was rescuing her and telling her, what a terrible person she was. She looked shocked to learn the fact that she had hurt people and that, Morgan hated her because you shot me and left me to die and took away everyone I loved. Like, she looked so hurt. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and it's not hating on Colby Minifie. It's not hating on the actress. It's just the fact that they wrote her one way and such, quite frankly, so unidimensional, so one-dimensional for so long, to all of a sudden have her be vulnerable and be this mom who's trying to protect her child and, who's going to sacrifice herself so that her child can have a place in this new community. I didn't buy it.
Yeah, and I mean, we never really bought it. And one of the Forbes guys said it too, where it was just she was never believable as a leader of this band of big burly ranger dudes, that she just instilled so much fear into so many people that, and she had so much power over people that she could cast them out and they feared her. And like, it never rang true to me. So the meek, terrified Ginny is the one I actually believe as a character. I did not believe the leader of the Rangers, Ginny.
And maybe that's the person that she always had inside, and she just never showed that person to us because she was trying to bluster it out. I mean, we all bluster stuff out, but I just, after a season and a half of writing this character the way that they did, to suddenly make this shift in this episode.
So I feel like if they would have elaborated more on the whole, because I mean they alluded to it so briefly in this episode when Dakota was like, "Why did you kill our parents?" And Ginny was like, "They weren't even your parents." And she's like, "The way you came into this world, they would not have protected you. They didn't protect me."
I definitely want to know what bad stuff they did to her. I mean, was it just that they were awful to her when she got pregnant?
So she got pregnant.
Or did they do some seriously bad stuff to her on top of that?
Right. So she got pregnant very young, and there is really no mention of a father. So I have a feeling it was like maybe an incest thing and they didn't go after the uncle, or maybe it was the dad. I don't know. But she was just, to kill your parents, that's a pretty heavy thing. And I can't imagine that it's anything other than something really yucky. So I think not that I want to hear those things, but I would have liked that too, because that would have made her a believable leader. Because that would have been like, okay, she has been through some stuff, and she is doing this for the protection of her child. And that's how she sort of gets through the day. That, yeah, maybe at the end of the day, she does break down and hyperventilate and cry and being like, holy crap, what am I doing? How am I going to pull this off? But, she is who she has to be when she has to be that person in front of, all of the Rangers and whatever enemy they're fighting, because she is protecting her daughter from what she was not protected from. So that would have made it believable. Like, they really should have developed that a little more instead of throwing that in 3 minutes before she dies.
Yeah. Okay, what was your bad?
My bad was the entire episode leading up to Ginny getting shot.
And this goes back to me saying, okay, they've got 25 minutes to turn it around, and you being like, it's meh until the very end.
Yeah. It was very meh, which is crazy because we were all over the place, and like, we saw everybody except for Chill. Yeah. I don't know what would have made this episode less meh, but for as action-packed as it was really hard to keep focus. It was really hard to keep my attention.
You know, I actually had to go back a couple of times and rewind, that's old language, but because I would like wander off mentally and be like, oh man, I just missed the last 5 minutes of the episode.
I was totally doing that tonight, and I wasn't even working and trying to watch the episode.
Yeah.
So that was my bad. It's just the episode was very, very slow. I mean, it had a really great payoff, which is why it got the, closer to 4 rating, not 4, but closer to 4. Otherwise, this would have been a high 2, low 3. I
always have a hard time rating Walking Dead, even Fear the Walking Dead low, but I would have really struggled to give it as high a rating as I did if there hadn't been, the opening and the ending.
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, there was just really the only things there was a couple of things in the middle, and I guess this puts us straight into rotting potpourri.
It does.
One of the things that I absolutely loved, and it was so brief. In fact, I think they should have made it slightly less brief. When the MRAP pulled up and Al sees it, like, you could it's the tiniest little Mona Lisa smile and this like glint in her eye. It was adorable. I loved it.
Because she's in love with her MRAP.
Yes.
If she can't have Isabel, she'll have the MRAP.
She's like, a way out. Oh. And so the other kind of big storyline I think that we kind of got out of this episode was the Dwight and Sherry, or lack thereof, Sherry, maybe, possibly, in the future.
Okay. So this kind of leads to the bigger thing of the pairings. Okay, Alicia and Strand have their little conversation. Dwight and Sherry have their little conversation. That was irritating, and it felt very stilted, but the whole, I'm desperately looking for you, honey. And then she's like, I don't want to hang out with you ever again. I'm kind of interested in the other people.
Yeah, I'm not where you are. I'm not in that place yet. It's like, so did I miss something? Like, so Ginny didn't recognize Sherry as someone she had cast out. She was not part of any of her settlements and so was Sherry's trauma just that Ginny was so Negan-like, and she had fell in with these people that had been traumatized by her, and so she was sort of dealing with her own stuff through these people? Because she seemed to be kind of in charge of them. I would have figured that it would have been somebody who was closer to the situation that was down there arguing to get Ginny to come out so we could like hang her or whatever they were going to do. I just feel like Sherry's involvement was like contrived. Yeah. And
I'm
now they're using it to get rid of Sherry.
I'm so glad you used the word contrived, because I felt like the whole Victor versus Morgan and and Sherry's group versus Morgan and everybody versus Morgan was so contrived.
Right? And like we're shooting at Morgan now. Like, that's where we are. We're gonna we're shooting our friends. And I get that Sherry's people were not really Morgan's friends, but they kind of were, because Morgan kind of saved their butt a few episodes back. So, like, because we hate Jenny so much, we're willing to kill Morgan. We're willing to wage war on this new town settlement thingy. Like, I get it. Like, but Jenny, I would be like, Jenny's not worth fighting like this over, I think I would have tried diplomacy a little bit more than what they did.
Yeah, I felt like it was not well written. There was a lot of stuff that was not believable. I mean, I hated the stuff between Strand and Alicia. I hated the stuff between Sherry and Dwight. I hated the forced infighting between all of our survivors.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, and the Daniel thing. I'm sorry, he got a ginormous wound on his head. How many times is that guy going to get knocked in the noggin and be okay? That was a horrible head trauma.
And I didn't realize that. And when he was back on his knees, and he was actually wound up being on his hands and knees for the entire rest of that scene, I was like, I feel like that's overdoing it. So I'm glad that you said that I did not catch that he had a...
Oh my God, it was a huge wound.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to go back and watch this episode just to see the wound, but it was a huge wound.
So one thing that I did find entirely believable, and I really liked it as a twist, is Strand getting all of the Rangers to side with him, because of course
except the one, right?
Yeah. Who else is gonna turn everybody against Jenny but Strand? Like, that is the Strand that we know and love from like episode 1, wheeling and dealing and making behind the back deals. And I was like, of course Strand totally managed to double cross Ginny. Yeah, so I did like that. And one of the Forbes guys actually pointed this out too. I liked the realism that when you shoot a gas tank, your car does not automatically explode. Like the movies would have you think. Yeah, I like that. Like, they were just losing gas. Like, there was no explosion or any... I was like, okay, like, I'm down with that. Hooray for realism.
Okay, this is... I'm going to say it. Having everybody on their knees in a clearing in the town look familiar?
Yep.
I thought, we don't need to borrow from the main series all the time.
There was even a heavily pregnant woman.
Oh, Maggie wasn't heavily pregnant, but to be fair, you're right.
Yeah. Yep. So what did Sherry mean when she yelled at Morgan and was like, "You're just as bad as she is, Morgan"? Like, what?
Do you think maybe it was because he was going to let her live?
I can't imagine that anybody is going to hold that against him, because other lives were at risk. Jenny basically had hostages, and if we killed Jenny, then Grace would have died, Sarah would have died, the rabbi would have died. Yeah, like, I'm just like, how can anyone... This is why I'm like, we couldn't try diplomacy. I mean, she had 3.5 hostages. You know? You're just as bad as she is, Morgan. No, he's not. What are you talking about? You've known him for 5 minutes.
I love it. No, he's not.
Oh.
I'm not sure. We've cranked through this episode pretty fast. I'm not sure that I have tons left.
I was going to say I didn't have very many notes.
There was, so I did like the scene where Morgan, I mean, I didn't like that he showed up in the nick of time in the clearing and was like, here I am, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But the scene of him, like, on the back of the horse, and it's very dark behind him, I just liked the way it was shot and the imagery. I didn't particularly like him showing up in the nick of time.
Yeah. Speaking of imagery, I really like the title cards.
Yes.
They're changing with every episode again, and I like that they do that. I would like to have seen Walking Dead Prime do that with their title cards, and it could just be little changes, and it would make me happy. But yeah, so I like the title cards changing. Ginny going into the new settlement. I hate that we don't have a name for the town. Like, she was like super in awe, and I'm like, okay, it's nice, but like, your places were kind of even more put together than that. Like, what are you so impressed by?
You know, maybe it was the population, although I don't know.
Just, the character is just so uneven. I'm glad that we will be moving on. I have very, very high hopes for our next villain to be. Did you see who it's going to be?
I did not, because I didn't see any previews and I didn't see any reading, or didn't do any reading ahead, but I kind of vaguely remember that it was going to be somebody big.
Oh,
is it John Glover?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So the actor's name is John Glover. And what's funny is we were actually just talking about Scrooged, and he was in Scrooged. But yeah, he has been in so much, and I absolutely love him. God, Smallville. There's a Tron series.
Well, didn't they do a couple of movies and then they did the reboot?
Yeah, I didn't realize it had turned into like a TV series. Though.
Oh, I didn't know it was a TV series either.
Tron Uprising. Yeah. So, Fear the Walking Dead's new villain, John Glover's Doomsdayer Teddy, could be a serial killer from John Dory's past. That is right up his alley. Like, that is the exact character that John Glover plays to a T. He was in the horrible Batman movie. He played,
Was that the one with Chris O'Donnell?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Alicia Silverstone, Uma Thurman playing Poison Ivy. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Freeze. Yeah, it was so terrible. It bordered on good. I'm not saying it was good. It bordered on good. But yeah, he played a mad scientist in that. And what's the reason why I think that is because the shot that they have of him that kind of looks like it's maybe on set. He looks exactly the same as he did in that movie. So he like big crazy white beard and long scraggly gray white hair. Yeah. So I'm super excited for that, but I really hope that he does not go the way of, I always call him Max Headroom because that's what I know him as.
Matt Frewer.
Matt Frewer, thank you. Yep. I hope he does not go the way of Matt Frewer where we get like 2 episodes of him being like middle management villain.
Middle management villain.
So
I'm looking to see if I've got anything else. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really think I have anything else. It was nice to see the rabbi. It was nice to see Emil's dog.
Yeah, that's another thing that they're kind of copying the main series on, is it's like, we gotta have a dog. Like, we tried the cat didn't work out, we need a dog. I'll be curious to see how they handle. I have a feeling that the group is going to break up, and that's how we're going to lose characters. We're not going to kill everyone off. We're going to have Victor go his own way. We're going to have Sherry go her own way. I don't know what that is going to do to Dwight. But and of course, June walked off into the sunset. So
I actually halfway expected her to walk off and put the pistol up against her jaw and pull.
No, I still maintain that somehow I kind of was thinking maybe she'll pull a Carol, where our group will be in perilous danger and she will come and snipe all the termites for us. But I don't know. I mean, this super serious, like, I don't know if you come back from that. I don't know if you want to come back. I don't know if she wants to come back from that. I don't think she does, actually. Like, I want her to want to come back, but I don't. I could see her, because the way we found her is, she was washed up and she didn't want to be around people. She had been so traumatized about losing her previous group and her daughter that she was just ready to call it a day, and and so her only reason for being, she buried and got her revenge. So is this the end of Jenna Elfman?
I think we're going to see more of her. I mean, I think I'm not going to say that she's going to be in the series for a long time from this point, but I don't think her walking off into the sunset is going to be the end of the character.
I actually don't either, but the way that I think it might play out is there will be a large break, kind of like with Carol, where
where we didn't see Carol for quite some time.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she comes back and saves the day. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, girl, I don't have anything else, and there's part of me that's like, I should really start Spotlight, and there's another part of me that's like, I should really just lay down and go to bed.
You should lay down and go to bed.
Probably, which may mean that we end up podcasting Spotlight on Thursday.
And that's totally fine, because I actually have approved leave to take Friday off.
Oh, then let's just plan on podcasting on Thursday.
This is the first planned day that I have taken off in that I don't have like multiple appointments for. My last planned day was because I had like 4 different kind of appointments that day. It was like eye doctor, dentist, vet, like regular doctor, like, so this is like, it's not gonna be leisure. It is. Oh, and by the way, today is the last day that you will no longer see True Darkness anymore up where you are. You will get Nautical Twilight.
I saw that. I think Michelle shared that.
Yeah. So it has been absolutely gorgeous here in Alaska for the past 4 or 5 days. It's been t-shirt weather. It's been over 50 degrees. It's been great.
It's beautiful in Alaska when you're hiring a dog poop scooping service.
So that is what I am doing on Friday. I am not hiring somebody. I actually do my spring cleanup, and I usually manage to do it all in one day.
I'm completely hiring somebody.
I get blisters on my hands and my back and my neck, and my entire body hurts. And every year, I swear to God, I'm going to hire the freaking football team to do it for me, because you can do that here. And every year I don't, and every year I regret it. And so that's what I'm going to do with my Friday is I'm going to clean up my backyard and then I'm going to recover for 2 days. Which means I should go to the liquor store now.
Oh, God. Okay, here's the deal. When you meet my fella, we're going out for coffee.
And Baileys.
Coffee. Okay. No Baileys. I'm killing your jam.
No, coffee's my jam too. I said that's the way that I separate my day anyway.
Meaning we're going to have to start in the morning?
Or I get to day drink when I'm there.
Oh my God. No, you know what you're doing? I am totally kidnapping you. Okay, spooky chef. And I am chaining you to something in my living room and making you refinish the cedar chest that I bought last weekend. Because the inside of the chest is beautiful. The outside looks like someone should not have touched it. And the upholstery that's on the top is terrible.
I will tell you that I'm not looking forward to that for one and one only reason. Refinishing furniture when there is a house full of dogs and dog hair is very difficult. Trust me.
Okay, spooky chef times 2. I have never regretted having dogs so much in my life.
Oh.
Which is a horrible thing to say, but literally when you have to meet your boyfriend at the door with a bottle of Claritin.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't love my animals. I do. I think, honestly, if I could just have Koba and nobody else, that would be okay.
Aww.
It's not that I don't love my animals. It's not that I'm getting rid of my animals. I just am in a place in my life where I never thought I would be like, I really have too many animals.
So I was on the opposite end of that. I am severely allergic to cats. And when James and I started dating, he had a cat. And I feel terribly guilty to this day because we decided to move in together, and like 2 months before we moved in together, the cat died. And now she was 20 years old. So like, it's not like, she was 6 and got hit by a car, or like 9 and developed like cancer or anything. She was 20. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to completely sound like a horrible human being. There is no one in my life that is going to die anytime soon. God, I sound horrible. Except my extremely elderly cat.
Oh.
And I don't wish that on any of my animals. I don't. It's just that now I'm like, I hate all of the hair. I hate the massive clean that I have to do to make my house relatively safe. I hate worrying about it.
Yeah.
I just hate it. Although I will say that I've said it before, Smalls and I have the same goal. We just want to sit in his lap and lick his face.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm so wrong. I shouldn't say things like that out loud, but here we are.
Here we are. Well, so we are going to try and podcast sometime this week.
Yes, and I will be good and get this. I'll get this done tomorrow so I can get it posted.
So you can join us on The Real Housewives by watching Spotlight, which is streaming on Netflix right now. But until then, just remember, take it one dead day.
Oh, we're terrible.
At a time.
At a time.
Oh, just see, I think we're in sync, and then you're like, oh my God, we're terrible. So, I don't know. Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.